Australia, tearing up native environment in trying to achieve climate targets. Australia, a nation celebrated for its stunning natural landscapes and unique biodiversity, finds itself in a complex and often contradictory situation. As the world grapples with the urgent need to combat climate change, Australia is making significant strides to meet its climate targets. However, this progress comes at a substantial cost to its native environment. This chapter delves into the tension between Australia's climate goals and the preservation of its native ecosystems, examining the policies, projects, and controversies that illustrate this precarious balance. Ambitious climate goals. Australia's commitment to addressing climate change is evident in its ambitious targets. The country aims to achieve net zero emissions by 2050 and has made substantial investments in renewable energy, particularly solar and wind power. These efforts are driven by both national policy and international pressure, as Australia seeks to align itself with global climate agreements such as the Paris Accord. Renewable energy projects. The cornerstone of Australia's climate strategy is its rapid expansion of renewable energy infrastructure. Vast solar farms and wind turbines are being erected across the country, especially in areas with abundant sunlight and wind. Projects like the Snowy Hydro 2.0 and the world's largest solar farm in the Northern Territory symbolize Australia's commitment to a sustainable energy future. Transition from fossil fuels. In addition to promoting renewables, Australia is gradually transitioning away from its heavy reliance on coal and natural gas. This shift involves not only phasing out coal-fired power plants but also exploring alternatives like hydrogen energy and battery storage systems. These initiatives are essential for reducing Australia's carbon footprint and achieving its net zero target. Environmental trade-offs. While these efforts are laudable, they are not without significant environmental trade-offs. The push for renewable energy has led to the clearance of large swathes of native vegetation, threatening local ecosystems and biodiversity. Solar farms and land clearance. The construction of massive solar farms often necessitates the clearing of native bushland and grasslands. For example, the proposed 10-gigawatt solar farm in the Northern Territory will require the clearing of over 12,000 hectares of land, home to numerous plant and animal species. This loss of habitat poses a severe threat to native wildlife, some of which are already endangered. Wind turbines and wildlife. Wind turbines, while a clean energy source, also present challenges to local fauna. The installation of wind farms in areas like the southern tablelands of New South Wales has led to concerns about bird and bat mortality. Species such as the wedge-tailed eagle and the grey-headed flying fox are particularly vulnerable to turbine collisions, disrupting local ecological balance. Policy and conservation efforts. Australia's government and environmental agencies are acutely aware of these issues and have implemented policies aimed at mitigating environmental damage. However, the effectiveness of these measures is a topic of ongoing debate. Environmental impact assessments. Before any major renewable energy project can proceed, it must undergo a rigorous environmental impact assessment, EIA. These assessments are designed to evaluate the potential effects on local ecosystems and propose mitigation strategies. While EIAs are essential for minimizing damage, critics argue that they are often insufficiently enforced or biased towards development interests. Conservation offsets. To compensate for the loss of native vegetation, developers are required to provide conservation offsets. This means protecting or restoring equivalent habitats elsewhere. While offsets can help balance development and conservation, their success depends on careful implementation and long-term monitoring, which are often lacking. Indigenous perspectives. Indigenous communities, who have a deep spiritual and cultural connection to the land, are particularly affected by these developments. Many Indigenous Australians are caught in a dilemma, as they support the transition to renewable energy but oppose the destruction of their ancestral lands. Cultural heritage and land rights. Renewable energy projects can encroach on sacred sites and disrupt traditional land use practices. For instance, the construction of wind farms in Victoria has sparked protests from Indigenous groups who argue that their cultural heritage is being compromised. Ensuring that Indigenous voices are heard and respected in the planning process is crucial for achieving truly sustainable development. Collaborative projects. Despite these challenges, there are examples of successful collaboration between renewable energy developers and Indigenous communities. Some projects include agreements that provide economic benefits, such as job creation and revenue sharing, while also protecting culturally significant areas. These partnerships demonstrate that it is possible to balance climate goals with Indigenous rights and environmental stewardship. Controversies and criticisms. Australia's approach to meeting its climate targets has sparked considerable controversy, both domestically and internationally. Environmentalists, scientists, and community activists often clash with government and industry leaders over the best path forward. Conflicts of interest. One major criticism is the perceived conflict of interest within the government, where policymakers may prioritise economic growth over environmental protection. Australia's continued investment in fossil fuel projects, such as the expansion of coal mines and natural gas exports, further complicates its climate narrative. Public opposition. Public opposition to specific projects has also been vocal and persistent. For example, the proposed Carmichael coal mine in Queensland faced widespread protests due to its potential impact on the Great Barrier Reef and local groundwater. Similarly, large-scale solar farms have met resistance from rural communities concerned about the loss of agricultural land and natural landscapes. The path forward. Balancing Australia's climate targets with the preservation of its native environment requires innovative solutions and a commitment to sustainable development. Integrated planning. A more integrated approach to planning renewable energy projects is essential. This involves comprehensive land use planning that considers environmental, social, and economic factors. By identifying areas with lower ecological value for development, Australia can reduce the impact on critical habitats. Technological innovations. Advances in technology can also play a crucial role. For instance, floating solar farms on reservoirs and offshore wind farms can generate clean energy with minimal land disturbance. Additionally, improvements in energy storage and grid management can enhance the efficiency of renewable energy systems, reducing the need for extensive land-based infrastructure. Community engagement. Engaging local communities, including Indigenous groups, in the planning and decision-making process is vital. Transparent dialogue and genuine collaboration can help address concerns, foster trust, and ensure that projects benefit both the environment and the people. Australia's pursuit of its climate targets presents a challenging paradox, achieving sustainability goals while protecting its unique natural heritage. As the country navigates this complex terrain, it must strive for a balance that honours both its environmental responsibilities and its commitment to a greener future. By embracing innovative solutions, strengthening policies, and fostering inclusive dialogue, Australia can work towards a sustainable path that respects and preserves its invaluable native environment.